Hello crafters and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Deepa from DeeZinesByD and today I am sharing a few cards that were made with the stencil of the month from Spellbinder's October Club Kits. So they have a whole bunch of them. We're going to go through them and I'm also going to share some information with you, so I hope you're ready for this video. Let's take a look at all of the kits for this month. Now, in my last video, I tried to mix and match as many as possible, but today I want to focus on one of them. First of all, let's go through them all. So this one here is the Better Press kit, and as you can see, it's got plaid, so you can make different types of plaid with the lines and position them with the registration plate there. And there's also some sentiments, which I did use on my card today. Here is the Glimmer Kit of the month, and you can see that this one is has a bunch of lights on it, which makes a great background. And the sentiment, the Merry Christmas, is a really nice large one with a coordinating die. The foil for this month is that speckled gold or aura gold. I forget exactly what it's called, but keep in mind, I said this in my last video, but the foils and the waxes for the wax kit, they both can vary. So the other ones that you should get, but it can change. So keep that in mind. Now I'm gonna look at the wax seal kit here. I didn't have that in my last video, but I do today. It's just a sentiment. It's a nice funky sentiment. It's more of like a cartoony sentiment here. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And you'll notice that a lot of the kits this month have more of like a Christmas critter type feel to it versus having more of like a classic Christmas feel. Now, the coordinating wax beads are the Christmas wax beads, but as I said, they do vary. Here are the folders. That was the 2D folder. Here's the 3D folder, and I always love looking at all of that dimension on the 3D folder. You've got some poinsettias and some candy canes, and on the 2D folder, you kind of got like a little bit of a design, almost like something like argyle or something that kind of goes with the plaid. Then for the clear stamp and die, you get all these Christmas critters with some sentiments, and there are dies to cut those out. We've got I think this is a small, yeah, this is a small die of the month. This is really cute. I am going to make a card with this one and post that one for you guys, but I probably won't have a video. The large die of the month here has some booties. Basically, these are like slippers, and then you have all of these cute little Christmas critter characters that you can put on the front of the slippers to create a cute little scene there. And then you've also got the stitching die of the month, which is like a snow globe with a Christmas tree, which I think is really pretty as well. The stencil of the month has these beautiful, basically there's 5 stencils. There's like these ornaments here. The 3 stencils come together to form the ornament background. And then you've also got 2 stencils that create kind of like a party ribbon type background, or just a nice design. You could layer those together or you could use them separately. So even in that one stencil set, you get multiple things that you can do. So here is the first color scheme that we're going to be using. I just took this off of the internet. I looked it up on Pinterest and I decided that I wanted to go with those colors. So as I mentioned, there are 3 stencils. I'm starting off with the one that has just like the full baubles in them. There's one that has like the tops of the baubles, and there's another one with the baubles and then the very tops of the baubles. So you kind of have to do a little bit of masking that one. So I'm starting off with some eucalyptus ink here. I'm using inks from Pigment Craft Company. I just like the muted greens, so I went along with that. And you'll notice that as I'm inking these up, I'm using a circular motion to do it, and I'm making the ink heavier on the outside of those ornaments. And by doing this, you kind of create that round shape of the ornament, and it gives it more of a 3D look. So as I mentioned, I started off with a eucalyptus, and I kind of gave that bauble the main color, and then I came in with the sage to darken the edges a little more, and I kept that light circular highlight in the center of the bauble to give it that realistic look. Now I've added the second stencil, and I'm just using some plain gold metallic pigment ink here to create the top of the baubles, and I'm just using a sponge dauber to stick these on rather than a blending brush, just because I already have one that I use with the gold for all of my projects. So you could use whatever you have on hand. Now I'm matching up the last stencil, and this one is going to fill in some more baubles and then also the tops, the round tops of the ornaments here. So I'm going to have to use a mix of inks. I'm using some Altenew Frosty Red and Coral Berry in order to do the other color of baubles. Now, you'll notice that I use the color schemes as a guide, and that's what you should be doing when you're using inspiration. You can try and match the colors perfectly, and that's great if you can, because it is just a color scheme, and that's completely fine. But if you can't do that, that's okay as well. You're using it as a guide, and the colors work together. So colors that are close enough to it are going to come out with a good image in the end. And that's why I like using color schemes like this, because especially not so much for color blending like this, but more so for die cutting, I find that sometimes there's a lot of dies that you're cutting and you can kind of lose the larger picture sometimes when you're picking out colors and stuff. And sometimes after I cut everything out and then I look at it and I'm like, oh, this didn't really go together that well. I find that using these color schemes and picking out ink or card stocks that go with that color scheme allow you to sort of freely just cut your dyes or blend your inks, and then at the end you're going to end up with something that looks really nice with a lot of cohesive colors and a color scheme that goes together well. So I finished up this one. I did some masking in order to add the gold. There's a little bit of carryover of the gold in some of the ornaments, but it's not a big deal. I'm actually taking those other two stencils and kind of seeing if I could have put that over top, but I think I'll do that for the next one. So I've got the second color scheme there. I'm using some Atlantis, Begonia, Turquoise, and I think that was Ballet Slipper. These are Pink Fresh inks, and then I'm using some Metropolis here. Sorry, it wasn't Metropolis, it was Misty Cove here, to kind of just add that that design in the background. So I just want to lightly add the color, and I went with the gray because I thought the gray would be the lightest. It's the lightest gray out of these colors of inks, and yeah, it just creates a nice little bit of a background there. So when I do the baubles over top, you will see a little bit of this coming through. So just because my baubles are not completely opaque, you could do that if you wanted. You could use maybe a pigment ink for your baubles if you don't want to see that that design coming through your bauble. But if you're okay with it like I am, then you can just go ahead and ink up your baubles like I'm doing. Otherwise, yeah, go ahead, use a pigment ink. They give you two different looks. I wouldn't say one looks better than the other. I think they both have different looks and they both uniquely look pretty. So I'm grabbing the ballet slipper, and because it's a lighter color, I noticed I did have to build up the color a lot more. If you don't want to spend too much time with like your hand, like if your hands get tired when ink blending, I would recommend using the Altenew ink blending brushes because they do actually add color a lot easier than the brushes that I'm using here. But it's completely up to you and what you have on hand. So I gone ahead and I add the ballet slipper, and then I added a couple baubles with the begonia. Now you'll notice I didn't use a darker and lighter color on the baubles. I kind of split them up and did like 3 or 4 one color and 3 or 4 another color. And all I did was just build up the ink to create darker edges and the lighter section in the center for that highlight. So I didn't use 2 inks for this, and you don't need to. So you just work with it with the way that I'm doing. You build up the color, and that's how it kind of comes together. So I went ahead and I added the tops of the baubles with some silver pigment ink this time. And then for the last stencil, again, I'm doing 2 colors of ink. I'm using that Atlantis and the turquoise. Now, again, I do have to do the masking here, especially because these colors are darker. I don't want them to overlap and accidentally have the ink kind of move into the wrong section of my stencil. So you can go ahead and do that. And I'm basically going to be just inking this up. I'll ink up the next one up in the exact same fashion with the next color scheme. You'll see the inks that I'm using there. And in the meantime, I did want to give you a little bit of an update. If you guys watch my videos, thank you so much. I wanted to really thank you for that. You'll notice lately I started posting more Spellbinders videos here and there, and I went through so this is like my little life update. I went through a little section of my life where I was at home, I was taking care of my kids. I have 3 daughters, and it took up a lot of my time, so I was off of work. In the last year, I went back to work, and it was a lot. It was a lot with 3 kids and going back to work and just, doing the normal grind. And I actually started having some health issues, so I had to stop. I had to stop, and it was so bad that I really couldn't continue, so I had to kind of end my job, and I'm doing more crafting now. I'm doing more crafting for fun. I'm trying not to stick to schedules too much. So my videos might not come out on the exact date of the release and so on and so forth, even though it doesn't have to. And I hope that you guys are okay with that. And YouTube videos are like forever, right? So if you miss the video and you happen to get the kit, and sometimes when I used to get these kits, they used to sit in my craft room for a couple months before I use them, and then I'd go back and look at videos to see what works. So I know you guys will check out these videos, and thank you so much for watching. I do want to try and have some giveaways in the near future. I just haven't really organized all of that yet, but I will be having that. So please do, watch and stay subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, because when I do my giveaways, they're going to be for subscribers only. Unfortunately, for those non-subscribers, I mean, all it takes is just a quick click to subscribe, and it really helps me create and continue creating these videos, because it gives me more viewing aspects. And then I also have my affiliate links below. As I mentioned, I'm no longer working, so that would really help me out. And I don't want to just sit here and just like beg for affiliate clicks, but just wanted to make you aware of the situation. I'm having like some health issues with my blood pressure, and so I'm trying to get that down. It's one of those really, really bad things that can kind of creep up on you. People like myself can basically walk around with really high blood pressures and not even know it, and you could be like a day away from a stroke or a heart attack, and that's literally where I was. So I've had to kind of curb what I've been doing and do things a lot more calmly, not around a schedule, so I'm not stressing things being done, and just create to have fun again versus being on a bunch of design teams and trying to fit my schedules and things like that. So what I've done is I've basically decreased my work schedule drastically. I still have to, keep some of my energy to take care of my kids and keep up with their schedules, and then I craft to really de-stress. So I really thank you for watching these videos, and I'll definitely give you some updates as time goes on. I'm working with my doctor right now to bring those levels down, and hopefully soon I'll be in a normal range and I can sort of level out, and I can maybe post some more for you guys. So yeah, that's a bit of my life update. So let's get back to the video before I make this entire video about my life. So yeah, we went ahead and we inked up everything there. Now I'm going ahead and I'm trying to work on putting these cards together. So this video is a little bit of a longer one because I just included everything. I normally edit a lot of things out, and I did do a lot of editing here, but I want to make my videos a little longer, and I want you to be able to see the full process for the most point. If you want, you can always forward, rewind, whatever you want to do in the video, so please keep that in mind. And yeah, so moving on, I've gone ahead and I foiled, or I've got my paper ready, along with, I'm just using plain gold foil there. I think that's the champagne foil, actually, to foil that large Christmas sentiment from the Glimmer Kit of the Month. I'm now pressing out that plate from the Better Press Kit of the Month with all of those strip sentiments on there, just in some regular black archival ink, the archival Better Press ink. Then I'm using my Scout here. I did just get the Scout like a while ago, and I've only used it a few times, so I thought that it'd be nice to use it in this video. I will post another video where I kind of go over the benefits, and like if you're thinking about getting the Scout, I'll go through all of that, so I'll post that soon. But yeah, I've cut out those sentiments there with the coordinating die, so you get like 5 sentiments in one go. I always love sets like this. So that Better Press set is like one of those sets I would definitely get, especially if you like plaid. The sentiments, I love that it cuts a whole bunch of them out in one go. Now for the Glimmer Kit of the Month, that sentiment there, I'm not going to cut it out with the coordinating die. I just cut off the bottom part of my panel, and that panel, I kind of tend to have panels that are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 just sitting there ready for me to go. So I just foil on there, and I know it's the right size for my card, so I just cut off the bottom half. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it down onto my card base, and then I'm going to add some specialty cardstock. So I've got some gold mirror cardstock, and I've also got the gold glitter cardstock from Spellbinders, and I'm just going to add a couple strips here to the bottom of my ink blended panel, and that just creates like a nice lip, like a nice finished look at the bottom of the cut panel. I like to do this for all of my cards. I just think it gives it like a nice look. And that's where those glitter cardstocks come in handy. If you're wondering, what am I going to use the glitter cardstocks with? I guess I can use it with die cutting, but here's another way you can use it just to give your cards that nice finished touch. So now that I've got that attached there, I can attach this to the actual card base so that it shows my sentiment down there at the bottom. And then all I have to do is cut off the top part of the panel. Now, I usually would scrap that, and I kind of want to get back to my roots. So when I started crafting, I did scrapbooking, then I went into card making, and when I was card making, even I used to make cards even when I was young, and then I used to like make the fake little Carlton cards or Hallmark cards emblem on the back of the card with my name on it. But yeah, I always did the inside of the card. I never liked leaving the inside of the card blank. I do that now because of necessity and trying to get a whole bunch of cards for different design teams, but now I have the time again. So I'm going to show you how I use this on the inside of the card, and you don't have to throw anything away. So I just took that panel, I added another strip of specialty cardstock. I think I just added the mirror cardstock this time, and I added it to the bottom of the inside of the card. So you got a cohesive flowing card from the outside to the inside. And if you look at my older videos, like the first few of them, that's card making inside and out, and that's what I used to do. So if you get a chance, they're probably very primitive, but you could always check those out. So yeah, now that I've got that done, I've got the clear stamp. Now the clear stamp has a bunch of sentiments on it, which I thought were really nice for the inside of the card. So I grabbed one of them, I inked it up with some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, and I'm just gonna stamp that on the inside of the card. If you wanted, you could add like a small little points. I guess this is ornament, so a little die cut ornament or a little flower if you wanted to, but I thought it was okay as it is. So that card is done. We'll add a little bit of pizzazz at the end for all 3 cards, but I'll move on to the next one. So for this one, I thought since I used the silver, it has more of like a cold look versus the warm gold look. So I went with the silver glitter cardstock from Spellbinders, and I just cut out the whole panel. Now, I have a bunch of this cardstock, so I will cut out the center of that panel and keep it rather than wasting all of that silver glitter cardstock. But I just went ahead and used it here. I cut down my my stenciled panel just a little bit so I could get a bit of a border to have that silver cardstock kind of shining through. And now I've got some of that DMC string that Spellbinder sells for your stitching dies. It makes a really nice, when you kind of wad it up in the background of your sentiment, it looks really nice. I thought it would go well with this, especially because you have the ornaments that you kind of string up and stuff. So I went ahead and I wadded that up in the background, and I took one of the sentiments, the Warm Winter Wishes, that we had cut out from the Better Press set, and I just kind of stuck it down here with some foam adhesive, and then I cut off a bit of the extra ends of that string because sometimes they kind of stick out in the wrong place, so you can always adjust those to your liking. Now I'm moving on to the 3rd card, and I've got the Spellbinders diamond, the diamond cutting dies here, and I'm deciding to use one of those sentiments on the baubles because I thought that it was the perfect size and fit in it. So I'll do that in a minute, but before I do that, I'm going to line up some of these dies, and I'm going to tape them together with some washi tape or low tack tape, anything you have on hand. And I'm going to cut that out of some silver cardstock. I'm going to do a few of them so I can kind of create a little bit of a design on the card. I mean, you don't have to do this. Like the other 2 cards, if you wanted, you could just stick a sentiment on top and be pretty much done with it. But I thought I'd do something a little different here. So I'll go ahead and I'll cut those out, and you can see I've got like three diamond frames there. Now I've grabbed that one sentiment that would fit in the bauble from the clear stamp and die set, Sweet Winter Wishes, and I've just stamped that in there, and that's my sentiment done. Real simple. You could have just left it like this. You didn't have to add anything else. But I just wanted to add those diamonds for a bit of interest. I figured the diamond kind of goes with those the kind of that pattern that's in the background there. So I thought it just kind of went together. And it gave it a bit of a different look compared to the other two cards. So I went with it. All I'm doing is I'm lining these diamonds up so that either one edge of them lines up with the next. And that just gives it like a nice spunky look and just a little something different for your card. Now, I've shown this product in my videos before. It's called Artist Tack. It's semi-permanent adhesive. I get this off of Amazon. I'll make sure I keep a link in the product list so you can find it there. It basically turns your die cuts into stickers. So all you do is you stick it in between the two release papers there. On one side it's sticky. You put the side that you want to get sticky down on it, and then you just basically press down and then lift it up. It's like the Xyron sticker machine, except it's just papers versus having an actual machine, so it is cheaper. So, and you can do larger images like this, whereas with the Xyron it has to be like a certain size, right? So I thought that this product is amazing. Yeah, if I forget to link it, please just leave a comment for me and I will link it for you. I've done that before by accident. But yeah, this product's amazing. I bought this like maybe 5 years ago and I still have like half of the package still there. So it lasts a long time depending on how much you use it. You'll notice here I'm taking some of the extra cut off pieces and I'm attaching them to create more of a design rather than just the 3 diamonds. And you can do that too if you wanted to. And it also prevents you from throwing away too much of your scraps, right? So I've used up most of it here. So this card is basically done here. All I have to do is stick it down onto my card base there. And that one's pretty much done. And then we're going to work on blinging these things up just a little, because you know me, if you watch my videos, I have to bling things up. So I am going to mention that there are, okay, first of all, I noticed as I was recording, my nose is a little stuffy. I'm sorry about that. The new medication I'm on kind of gives me a bit of a stuffiness, so I'm sorry about that. But I hope that you get the gist of what I'm saying here without too much of a difference in my voice. You can see that I am actually sticking down some of the areas, and that's not because the Artist Tack paper didn't work. That's because when you use the sheets over and over, there's going to be certain areas that don't have tackiness anymore because it picked it up from a previous sticker that you created. So sometimes when you're using an older leaf of the paper, you kind of have to move it over and stick it down a couple times to pick up enough glue on everything. And it's just like a 2-second thing. It doesn't take that long to do that. So it doesn't add too much time to your crafting. I just didn't do it, and so I just stuck it down with some glue. No biggie. So for the first card, I'm adding some shimmer on here, and I'm using some Nouveau Dream Drops or Shimmer Drops. Sorry, I forget what they're called. I will link them in the supply list in the description below. This one is called Golden Shimmer. And so you can see as it goes on, it looks a little silvery, but as it dries, that opaque nature to the adhesive turns clear, and then all you see is gold shimmer. So I thought it went with this really well. So I added some of that. I'm going to add some on these Warm Winter Wishes card baubles. This one I'm going to use some stickles. I think at first I started using diamond. Diamond's like my go-to, so I kind of ran out and then I went with Stardust. They have generally the same look, so you're not really going to notice that I switched from one bottle to the next, and I only did like a couple bubbles there anyway, so it's not a big deal. So I'll go ahead and I'll just add that shine. Now do keep in mind, and this is something I didn't realize until I did this, I noticed that the Pink Fresh inks, when you add like something like this to it, it can change the color of your ink a little bit. So keep that in mind depending on the ink color used. Some of them turn like bluish, like that purpley turned a little bit bluish. So if you don't want that to happen, don't use that. Instead, you might want to add shimmer, just to add some bling like I'm doing here. So I've got some pearl gems that I added to the first card. I've got some clear and opaque gems that I'm adding to the second card. The last card, I didn't add any like shimmer or anything on, like any stickles or anything, but I will just add a few gems on there to give that one a bit of pizzazz. For this one, I think I used, yeah, some like light pink pearls. It had like a few colors in it, which I thought worked well with the baubles. It's hard to see on screen here. But those are pretty much my 3 cards for today. So I hope that you guys like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As I mentioned, I will be having some giveaways coming up, and stay tuned for all of the things, including my life updates and everything, if you are interested in that. But if not, I'm going to have more inspo coming your way. Any more inspo I have for the clubs is going to be in posts on my Instagram, so please do follow me on Instagram as well, and on my blog. And then I also will have the the collections that come out this month, so stay tuned for that as well. So I'll see you guys then, and have a great weekend, week, whatever it is. Bye.